Welcome to the CU Sports Magazine. I'm Rob Moody.
And I'm Todd Gary. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Rob, CU women hosted Marquette on Wednesday night, and they played them very well.
They did. Marquette came in here and dominated most of this game. CU hung tough and escaped from the Event Center with a win. We'll have highlights for you in just a little while.
And we will have Seal Berry giving you all the good stuff straight from the coach's mouth. She will be joined by Carol Callum a little later in the show. But first, a little men's basketball news. The men's basketball team will have Donnie Boyce back for one more year, his senior year. The Buffs' leading scorer and assist man announced he will return next year to take care of some unfinished business, namely a winning season at CU. Boyce made the announcement Monday night, at the team's annual postseason banquet. And Rob, maybe it was the fact that he was voted this season's most valuable player. What a big surprise there. Things could be looking up for CU next year, though. Head coach Joe Harrington signed a 2-year contract extension at the end of the year. That happened last week. CU finished the season strong with a last-second loss to number 3 Missouri. And Ted Allen will finally be getting some help in the paint. 6'11" freshman Chris Paddock should finally get some playing time next year. And coincidentally, Rob, Paddock just happens to be a first cousin of NBA All-Star Dan Marley. That could be good.
The University of Colorado ski team wrapped up a successful season last weekend at the 41st Annual NCAA Skiing Championships in Maine. CU finished in 4th place, 66 points behind the eventual winner, Vermont. Vermont came from behind to snag the title from defending champion Utah. The University of New Mexico finished in 3rd place. 2 CU skiers earned All-American honors. Senior Nathan Schultz finished in 5th place in the men's 20-kilometer cross-country freestyle race, only 4 seconds behind the eventual winner. That was good enough to earn him All-American honors. In the women's 15-kilometer race, CU's top finisher was Brandy Prosser. She finished in 9th place, which was good enough to earn her All-American honors. CU coach Richard Rocco said, "We had a year of inconsistency, and then we came here and repeated our 4th place finish from a year ago. Our consistency is in the wrong area. We did not come all this way to finish in 4th place." Todd.
Well, Rob, as we told you earlier, Marquette did come to the Foam Dome on Wednesday night, and a great game. CU pulled out a last-second win with 3 points.
CU, as we said earlier, had to hang tough in this one. Marquette led most of the way, and they deserved to win this basketball game. But a lady by the name of Shelly Sheets stepped up in the last 2 minutes, and CU managed to escape from the Event Center with a win. Let's go out to the Foam Dome and take a look at first half highlights. Marquette came into the Event Center as the 14th seed in the West region, and things started off slowly for the Warriors as Shelly Sheets will jump on this fumble and dish it off to Amy Palmer. Things didn't start off a whole lot better for the Buffs as DC Thomas gets nothing but nothing on that shot. Marquette then decided to take control of things from downtown. That's a three-pointer. Yeah, that's a three-pointer. And that's a three-pointer as well. Seen enough? Well, Shelly Sheets thought so, and hey, I can do that too. Sheets hits the three-pointer, her only basket from the floor in the first half. Sheets then draws the offensive foul, and CU begins to make a bit of a run here. DC Thomas would hit on the pass from Shelly Sheets into the corner, the 16-footer up and good. Colorado leads at this point. Marquette takes a timeout. That would be about all that went well for CU during the first half, however, as CU shot only 27% from the floor. Sheets on the layup. Nope. How about Amy Palmer from the corner? Yeah, brick. Okay, let's try DC Thomas. No. Sheets again. Ugh. Amy Palmer again. Yeesh. Okay, Aaron Schultz. Nope, that wouldn't go either. Lori Weathers, is your team missing too many shots? Yep, I think so too. Passing wasn't a whole lot better. Palmer to Thomas to the Marquette bench. Shelly saying, wasn't that pass supposed to go to me? And Jamila Lang going, passing, guys, passing. Remember the pass. Things would improve for CU at the end of the half as DC Thomas gets it into Reagan Scott, and she hits a nice turnaround jumper. Then Lori Weathers would get the putback, count that for 2 as well. And then Seal Berry and Shelly Sheets talking it over. No, Shelly, you're supposed to be playing. CU would go into the locker room down at halftime, and once again, they would have to come from behind to win. As we said, CU would have to come from behind to win, and that has been the story in the Big 8 tournament. They were down their first 2 games, and they had to come from behind, and they were down at Missouri, too, and they ended up not winning. They managed to escape here against a tough Marquette team.
Very rarely do you ever see CU down at the half. Something doesn't happen very often, especially because Coach Sealberry stresses defense so much. And they had a very big problem defending Nikki Mezcala, who number 22 from Marquette. She was just incredible. She played great defense, and she was hitting three-pointers all over the place, Rob.
Marquette was really an underrated team. They came in at the 14th seed, and they could have been as high as an 8 or 9 the way they played against CU. Let's go out, take a look at the second half highlights, and see how CU fared in the second half. To open the second half, Taisha Jones would get the putback for Colorado as they began to close the gap. And then Aaron Scholes would tie the score at 42 with a nice touch from the paint, but Marquette would answer right back with the shot and the foul. Colorado continued to have problems putting the ball in the basket, and Marquette was able to take it coast to coast as Kristen Mezcala lays it in. She had a game-high 22 points. Aaron Scholes to Taisha Jones. Say, did you see Tanya Harding sitting in the front row? Sorry, I had to get it in. Shelly Sheets' shooting woes continued, and Colorado found itself down by 7. Amy Palmer, no, we're not down by 7. We can't be down by 7. Marquette then decides to go cold from the floor. There's miss number 1. Here comes miss number 2. And then miss number 3. Nice layup. Where was Marquette shooting? But more importantly, where was CU's rebounding? Then it was trade baskets till you can't stand up. Christine Kennedy, D.C. Thomas, Christine Kennedy, Jamila Lang, Christine Kennedy, and D.C. Thomas. You get the picture. Colorado was down by 2 with 7 minutes to go. Sealberry in the huddle because the no-huddle offense wasn't working. Haha. Sealberry calling for the defensive stop, getting her players ready to take back to the floor. She was looking for a defensive stop, and I tell you what, she'd get one as Reagan Scott steps up and get that out of my house. Lori Weathers then ties the score for Colorado, but Marquette responds coast to coast one more time. Marquette leads once again. Reagan Scott would keep CU close, almost loses the handle, but then puts it up and in. And then this lady would step up big time for the Buffs. Sheets would come out and hit a three-pointer, a heart-stopping three-pointer, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. She would then hit 3 foul shots, and Colorado would win 77-74.
It was a tight game. Like you said, Marquette had a very good chance of winning this game. But key players started stepping up for CU, and especially Reagan Scott, who's really been stepping up in the last few games, coming off that ankle injury, playing very well. She had some great defense there and a couple of good layups, and they really need to get those baskets in the paint because they'd been missing so many early on in this game.
Something to remember, Reagan Scott did play really well. Shelly Sheets was 2 of 12 from the floor. She had a three-pointer in the first half, and she then stepped up big time, as we said, in the second half, nailed a three-pointer, and then hit all 3 of her foul shots. She was 2 of 12. The team was 27% from the floor in the first half, and then only 40% from the floor for the entire game. But that goes to show you how good this team is, because they play a tough Marquette team, shoot only 40% from the floor, and still hang on to beat Marquette at home.
And as usual, Sealberry had some great things to say about her sixth man, or sixth woman, if you will. The fans, always great as usual. Over 7,000 on hand at the Foam Dome for this game. And they're really hoping to get a big draw, big crowd Saturday night, and they probably should because it's a weekend game. And according to Seal, she said that the crowd is probably what helped them win that game in the last few seconds.
Something to keep in mind, too, is that this team is very young. They have 7 freshmen, and Jamila Lang, the only senior, Shelly Sheets, the junior on the team, very young. A lot of pressure on this team. Sealberry had some comments about that. We're going to throw it to her in just a minute. We'll be back in the studio with Sealberry and Carol Callan right after these messages on the CU Sports Magazine.
Excuse me. Do you wear your safety belt?
Why, no. I don't wear my safety belt.
Thank you.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt. America's toughest drug enforcement agents. Last year, she helped convict 90 drug dealers, seize several tons of crack and marijuana, and close down 10 major drug operations. She is a 68-year-old grandmother named Irma. She set up a community drug watch that is not only changing her neighborhood, but its future. There are many ways to help in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Welcome back to the CU Sports Magazine. I'm Carol Callan with the University of Colorado women's basketball coach Cecile Berry, fresh off a 77-74 win over Marquette. I guess the only thing we can say is, whew, this team is coming out every game and winning in typical Colorado fashion, which means they have to pull this thing out in the last 3 minutes. Can your heart take much more of this?
You know, at last night's game, we were sitting there on the bench, and I thought, this is it. We're not going any further than this game, and I guess we need to start thinking about next year. I really thought we weren't going to be able to pull that game out, but, I thought Shelly just, again, hit a clutch shot for us, and definitely some free throws at the end, and here we are still alive.
Shades of the SIU game when you went down to the final wire. Shelly has a chance to make some free throws to put it out of the way. She misses. SIU comes down, hits a three-pointer, and puts it into overtime. Did the whole team kind of remember that?
Well, a lot of the team is different, so I don't know that the team really knew that, but Shelly knew, and I knew. And I could see the pressure on her face, and, I could just see how much pressure was on this kid in front of all these people. And the only thing that's going through her head is, I can't miss it again. And she puts the shot in, and then the second one to ice the game, she missed. But, they hustled back, and this time the fate was a little bit different. But that's tough on a kid.
Seedings are so funny. Everybody looks at this. You've been ranked number 2 now, number 5 in the country. You're the number 3 seed. They're not seeded nearly as high. Yet they had great players. Lori Gerlitz, Kristen Muscala, Christine Kennedy. They seem to be able to score at will, but yet in the last 4 minutes really, you shut them down. Why was that?
Well, as our game plan was, we wanted to slow them down and make them set up, and it was hard to do. But I felt like if they're going to shoot jump shots all night, outside shots all night, they shot 28 three-pointers, and we're going to try to go inside. We're going to go to the free throw line more times than not. Eventually, they're going to get tired with that sort of a game plan, and if they do get tired, it's a gamble. But I think that they got a combination of them getting tired and us hitting one big shot to get some momentum going their way. Part of the reason they missed their shots was our defense, but part of it was their fatigue.
We do have some highlights of last night's game. Let's look at those now and maybe just pick out a few things in particular. You really had a total team effort, if you want to consider it, that you really needed a little bit from everybody, and then of course the reliable Shelly came by at the end.
Well, there you see the crowd there. That's always a factor for us. That's our 6th player. DC, I like to see DC shooting the ball. She's more aggressive this year. Her confidence is getting a little bit better. There you see Christine Kennedy. She really hurt us more than we expected. Erin Scholes in the low post on a nice little move. Palmer, that's off a press break. We broke their press, and Erin hit Amy Palmer.
A good example there of the penetration. It just seemed like you couldn't stop them. They could penetrate and then kick it out if they needed to.
Yeah, I tell you what, their penetration bothered us all night long. There's Kennedy on a follow-up shot. I think this timeout we're talking, we're up 2 points right here. Don't let them shoot a 3, and don't foul them. And Shelly hits the free throw there. You can see the pressure. And here's their final shot off a double screen. Taisha Jones, a great job of stepping up and helping Amy Palmer on that shot. Those are the little things that go unrecognized. Had she not gotten up there and got a hand in her face, Muscala could have hit that shot.
Defensively, they really mixed it up on you. They were very aggressive. They double-teamed inside. They forced you into just 35% shooting in the first half, only 28% shooting. Would you credit all of that to their defense, or do you feel that at times you just simply are still trying to get the offense on track?
Well, we beat ourselves a lot. We take poor shots. I'm not saying that we're not structured or we don't run our offense. We take poor shots out of the offense. We come down and lack some patience sometimes. When one player does that, it gets contagious. The second player does that. The third player does that, and it really disrupts our offensive flow.
You really are young. What was your overall reaction to last night's game?
I'm happy. I mean, I can't complain about being one of the 32 teams left in the tournament. Everybody's upset that we don't win the way we're supposed to, but ranking-wise, it's irrelevant.
You're up next with Oregon, who is another one of those 32 teams left. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be back to talk about Oregon.
The search for the right food is like a journey into unknown territory. Will you find something that's good for you? How do you know what you should eat? The Red Cross can guide you through the mysterious jungle of nutrition and help you decide the right path to travel. Follow the Red Cross course that presents a new way to learn about food, health, and diet that is right for you. Go exploring with the Red Cross. Learn about better eating for better health. Call your Red Cross chapter.
Children believe what their parents tell them.
You're pathetic. You can't do anything right.
You disgust me. Just shut up.
You can't be my kid.
You're worthless.
Hey, stupid, don't you know how to listen?
You're never going to amount to anything.
Why don't you go find some other place to live?
Words hit as hard as a fist. Stop and listen to what you're saying. You might not believe your ears.
I wish you were never born.
Take time out. Don't take it out on your kid.
This is the CU Sports Magazine. I'm Carol Callan with Colorado head coach Cecile Berry. Oregon is up next, and you've just gone through a style of run and gun. Oregon is a little bit different. What are your expectations, I guess, from Oregon on Saturday night?
Oregon's a lot like Missouri. The head coach at Oregon is Jody Runge, who was Joanne Rutherford's assistant for, I believe, 5 to 6 years. At Missouri, they run the same style. They pound it inside, get the ball, and they've got two very good post players. Sarah Wilson is one of them, great scorer. She had a double-double last night, but they work the high-low game. They took 43 shots last night and hit something like 23. So it's going to be, then they come back and stand around in a zone. Well, they don't stand around, but they're in a zone defense, try to force you to take outside shots. So I think what's going to happen is, are we going to take outside shots and not go to the free throw line while they pound it inside and they go to the free throw line 35 times?
Does the strategy then include trying to run on them? Marquette ran effectively. You wanted to run with Marquette, but in the end they got tired. Can you run them to death a little bit?
Well, I think we can run a little bit. We've got to run a little bit more under control and be smarter and more organized in how we run. And secondly, when we don't run and they set up in a zone, we've got to get the ball inside and draw some fouls against them. It's going to be very similar to Missouri. We didn't go to the free throw line enough times against Missouri, and they did. We beat Missouri from the field. So we've got to get to the free throw line.
Preparation is such a key. You really scout teams, you look at game films, you do so much with the teams that you're going to play, and yet when you get into a tournament situation, you only have about 2 days to prepare. Does the fact that this team is just like Missouri, is that to your benefit?
I think that'll help us, and also, as we said before about Marquette, we didn't get the films till Tuesday. We play on Wednesday. We've got the films here Thursday. We'll watch them all day Thursday, all day Friday. I think we'll be a little bit better prepared. Yet my bigger concern is how our team plays. Some of the mental errors that we make, those are tough to prepare for. They've got to make the right decision at the right time.
You had a great crowd last night, and obviously a great crowd is needed to carry you through on Saturday. How did that crowd lift your spirits at the end of that game?
I think the crowd always is such a big factor. I think that's why we've got a streak going at the event center, especially when Shelley hit the shot, I think from that point on, the crowd just really helped us get through that last minute and a half or minute 40, whatever was left. And I hope that's a factor now on Saturday night.
Well, Coach, we wish you well. Obviously, if you win that game, you're on your way to Stanford in the West Regional. We'll be back after this short break to the CU Sports Magazine.
In Salisbury, Maryland, the hungry are being fed. In Wind Falls, Indiana, a man who learned to read at 47 is making sure others learn earlier. Every day, someone in America is doing something to light up another life. But there is so much more to do. The light to do it is within us all. We only need to share it. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
It takes so little to save our rivers and oceans for future generations. If we use less toxic household cleaners, we protect a little. Fewer lawn care chemicals, a little more. And recycling used motor oil gains us so much. In fact, there are many things we can do in our everyday lives that can help stop water pollution forever. Clean water. If we all do a little, we can do a lot. Brought to you by the Natural Resources Defense Council and the Ad Councils of the U.S. and Japan.
Well, let's flip down to the football section of the sports magazine now. CU is racking up the preseason polls in football. Last week I told you CU was ranked #1 ahead of Florida and Michigan in the football news. Now head coach Bill McCartney's offseason work has paid off. His recruiting class was ranked 13th in the country by Tom Lemming's Prep Football Report. CU earned the best ranking in the Big 8, with Oklahoma coming in second at the 18th best in the country. Forward Max recruits earned All-America honors from Lemming. Running back Raphael Cooper and linebacker John Merritt, both from Detroit, made the second team, and third-teamers were receiver Chris Anderson of Texas and Boulder High's own Elton Davis at cornerback. They both made the third team. Tune into the sports magazine every week for the latest CU football updates and watch for our complete football review or preview in April. Rob.
Turning to track, the University of Colorado set a school record, earned 3 All-American honors, and finished in 23rd place at the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships in Indianapolis. In the final race of his CU career, Sean Found set a school record for the second time this season in the 5,000-meter run. Found finished the race in just over 13 minutes and 51 seconds. He knocked over 2 seconds off the previous record. Found's time placed him second in the event, and that earned him All-American honors. Senior Melissa Weiss, a shot putter, and Fritz Rogers, a 3,000-meter runner, also earned All-American honors. Weiss finished 6th in the shot put, and Rogers finished 9th in the 9,000-meter race. Senior Brooke Bauman finished her season in a disappointing manner. She failed to qualify for the women's final in the mile run. CU track coach Jerry Quiller said, "We're bringing home some All-Americans. That is a successful trip." Turning to club sports, the men's lacrosse team plays BYU at Folsom Field Friday at 4 p.m. Women's hockey takes on the Denver Bandits Friday night at 7:30 at the CU Rec Center. On Saturday, men's rugby takes on Wyoming at Farron Field at noon. And also Saturday, the fencing club hosts an all-day tournament at the General Gym. Turning now to basketball and shooting. And I know that you don't have a very good jump shot, so you're going to want to watch this package done by Dick Martin from the CU PR office.
If it's a real big shot, I want to make sure I get good enough jump from the floor. Then I just want to follow through with my shot and release the ball nice and smooth.
Touch, feel. That's how CU basketball player Donnie Boyce describes a good basketball shot. But for CU Boulder physicist Jim Fowler, a basketball shot takes on a whole new dimension.
In a sense, basketball is a ballistics problem. It's the name of the game is to get the ball into the hoop. And so that's a targeting problem.
A self-described basketball nut, Fowler has broken down the fundamentals of the game into terms only a physicist can understand.
Essentially, you have two choices that you have to make a decision on when you're shooting. One is the angle at which the ball goes with respect to the horizontal. And simultaneously, for a given angle that you've chosen, you have to select the speed with which the ball goes.
While this may sound foreign to many people, it translates well onto the basketball court.
If you have a nice release, the ball will give you a nice arch and rotation.
anything below 32 degrees, which is roughly like that, it's going to hit the rim, either the front rim or the back rim. So it has to approach at an angle greater than 32 degrees with respect to the horizontal.
Now, Jim, you say even backspin can be explained in terms of physics. Why is that?
So very often you hear someone say, oh, he's got a great soft shot. What makes a soft shot? The rim doesn't change, the ball doesn't change. It must be something about the interaction of the ball and the rim. And when the ball is spinning backwards, when it hits the rim,
it gives you a chance to make the shot.
While Fowler likes to equate basketball fundamentals with ballistics, he says when it's tip-off time, the physicist turns into the fan. From CU Boulder, Dirk Martin reporting.
Good touch. Come on.
Largest group of Americans living below the poverty line. They have to reach higher for what others take for granted. Health care, balanced meals, encouragement to learn. But with help early on, children in your community can gain the skills to get out from below the poverty line. It takes programs like Success by 6 and people like you to help them take the first step. Call to learn more. Change the world of a child, and you change the world.
Everybody.
That is a great shot of Chip and Reagan, and my apologies to Dirk Martin, not Dick Martin from the CUPR office.
We got skiing now for you, Rob. We went skiing yesterday at Eldora, and it was quite a trip, as Chad Walks will tell you about right now. So let's take a look.
As school comes to a close today at CU, many students will be packing their bags and heading to the slopes for some spring skiing in Colorado. Things weren't quite so warm today in Eldora, however. CU Sports Magazine's Lisa Rodman, Todd Geary, and myself will bring you a day of skiing on the slopes of Eldora.
Is there a little red light on?
Yep. No, Lisa, it's not the Olympic Games, Lillehammer, Norway.
But it is the CU Sports Magazine in Eldora. And it's St. Patrick's Day, but we're not seeing much green around here today, Ted.
In fact, we're not seeing much of anything with near blizzard conditions in the mountains near Netherlands. Students who are heading out for their spring break skiing in Colorado's high country might get a bit more than they bargained for.
Students with dreams of sun-drenched ski slopes during spring break may have their dreams come true. Snowfalls have been slightly above average this year, with most ski resorts boasting a 40 to 50-inch base, even this late in the season. Hopefully, the weather will cooperate.
After battling adverse conditions on the slopes all day, we decided to warm up to a little of that Eldora hospitality. We'd like to thank Eldora for hosting us here today.
And I was sorry we couldn't see Todd ski in his shorts today. And Rob, who had to edit videotape all day, maybe next time. We're going to now go back to you in the studio.
I got screwed out of a day of skiing is basically what happened. I just didn't get invited. But I noticed that we didn't see you on that tape. Is that just because you're not a good skier?
It's because my legs weren't there. My legs weren't available. Well, that's all we have for you this week on the CU Sports Magazine. We will be on vacation next week for spring break, but we will be back the week after that. So thanks for joining us today on the CU Sports Magazine.
Have a great day.